Good morning, students. I welcome you all for the civics lecture. Today, we are going to begin with chapter number 5, Fundamental Rights, Part 2. In previous lesson, we have studied what are fundamental rights and which rights are included in our Indian Constitution, such as right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, a right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, a right to constitutional remedies. So these are the 6 fundamental rights which our Indian Constitution has given us. From that, the first 3, that is right to equality, a right to education and right against exploitation or discrimination, that we have already studied in our previous lesson. So in this lesson, we are going to study the remaining 3 fundamental rights, that is right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, right to constitutional remedies. So these are the 3 rights which we are going to study in this lesson. So let's begin. In the last chapter, we studied some fundamental rights guaranteed by the Indian Constitution. We studied the rights of liberty, liberty means freedom, equality and the right against exploitation. In this chapter, we shall also learn about the right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, and as well as right to constitutional remedies. So in this chapter, we shall get acquainted with the judicial protection available for the fundamental rights. The first one is right to freedom of religion. Means we are free to select or choose any religion of as per our choice. We can follow any other religion. We are not bound to follow only our religion. As per our convenience, we can convert our religion also. So that is there. That freedom is given by our Constitution. Next one is cultural and educational rights. Means we are having a full freedom to celebrate our festivals and can be a part of other festivals also. And that is why India is called as a diverse country. Then the third one is right to constitutional remedies. Means all the people in front of law are equal. So as a citizen of India, if you committed any kind of unethical activity, then you are liable to get punishment. There is no injustice in any kind of punishment that is provided by the Constitution or by the law. So in short, in front of the government, all people are equal. So let's begin with the first right, a right to freedom of religion. So we all know that, and we have already studied in our previous classes, that India is an important secular country in the world. Secular means India is not following any particular religion. India give importance to all the religions. In front of the law, all religions are equal, and that is why it is called as a secular country. So here we are free to follow any of the religion as per our choice or our convenience. But you must be curious to know what the Indian Constitution say about it, isn't it? It is included in our right to freedom of religion. That means we are free to follow any of the religion as a citizen of the country, and we can establish institution related to our religion, and also we are free to convert our religion. No law or any restriction are there on the religion. According to it, each Indian citizen is free to practice any religion and establish institution for the religious reasons. So you can establish any religious institution, or you can practice any religion in our country, as the Constitution has given us a right of freedom of religion. And in order to broaden the scope of the right to freedom of religion, two things are not permitted. The first one is state cannot impose religious taxes that might be used to encourage a particular religion. That is, our constitution forbids religious taxes. Means the taxes cannot be collected in the name of the religion. A state is not imposing any religious taxes and they are not collecting any taxes in the name of the religion. Then the second one is religious education cannot be made compulsory in educational institutions that receive aid from the states. So the government schools are there, colleges are there, they are not making any type of religious education compulsory. So these are the two things are there which will broaden the scope of the right to freedom of religion. So now we are going to move to the next right, that is cultural and educational rights. We know that a country is known as unity in diversity. That means in India we follow different culture, different religions, different food habits, different way of life, different festivals. Then also we all are united. We can see that there is a great diversity of festivals, food and ways of life in a country. You may have noticed the differences in the different wedding ceremonies that you attend. Many times you attend the different wedding ceremonies. Like Hindu, they celebrate their wedding in a different way, whereas Muslim, they also celebrate their weddings in a different way. Christian also. So many times you have attended their weddings and you have seen they have a different wedding ceremonies. All these things are a part of the cultural of the different communities. So the every community have a different style of celebrating their wedding ceremonies. Our constitution has given the different communities the right to preserve their cultural uniqueness, and that is why our constitution has given a right to preserve our cultural heritage, and that is our quality, because every culture they have a different qualities or the uniqueness we can say, and to preserve our cultural uniqueness our constitution has given us the permission. According to this right, people are not only free to preserve their own language, script and literature, but also make efforts towards their promotion. They can establish institutions for the development of their language. So our constitution is not given only permission to preserve their cultural uniqueness, but also we can preserve our language, we can preserve our script also, we can preserve our literature also, and we can do the efforts towards their promotion, and we can establish the different institutions for the development of their language. Okay, now let's move to the next one, right to constitutional remedies. In case of encroachment of fundamental rights, the Indian citizens' right to get judicial remedies is also a fundamental right. That means if any kind of injustice taking place in society, then the constitutions should look after that and provide justice to the people in the society. So this is called as a right to constitutional remedies, which means equal status in front of law or equality should be there in society. This means the constitution itself has provided for legal remedies in case people's rights get violated. This means constitution itself has provided legal remedies or the proper solutions for the problems, and through incorrect way we cannot force anyone to do any kind of injustice. So it becomes a constitutional duty of the court to protect the rights of the people. So the court should look after the rights of the citizens of this country. That means if people's rights are being misused, then the court is having a full approval to fight against that and provide full or proper justice to the people in the society. Sometimes the rights that are guaranteed to us by the constitutions may get encroached upon and we are not able to exercise our rights. That means we are not able to express what difficulties we are facing, and it can lead to a personal harm. Also, this is called as an infringement of our rights. So, the court considers a complaint and investigates it, and in case it is convinced that right have indeed been infringed upon and injustice has been done to the aggrieved individual, the court gives an appropriate verdict. So the court considered the complaints of the people, and people are having a full right to fight against any kind of injustice that is taking place in the society. Here court take decision and try to investigate whatever problem of injustice is taking place in society. In case it is convinced that right have indeed been infringed by the court and injustice has been done to the people or the individual, the court gives an appropriate verdict. So the court take decision on the basis of proof provided or against. Sometimes the decision is not in favor of individual because of the proof provided. Accordingly, investigation is done and decision is given. So this is all about right to constitutional remedies. Now we are going to see some instance of infringement of rights. The first one is arresting an individual without a reason. For arresting a person, it's very important to have an arrest warrant. Without arrest warrant, a person cannot be arrested, and that is a proof for arresting a person. So arresting an individual without reason. So we cannot arrest any person without a reason or a arrest warrant. The second one is preventing a person from leaving a village or town without giving a valid reason. Without giving a valid reason, we cannot prevent any person to leave their village or town. Then the third one is refusing food, water and medicines to jail inmates. Means if any person is there in the jail, if they are not getting the basic needs like water, food and medicines, then they are having a right to fight against the injustice. Now next we are going to study the rights as constitutional remedies. The court have powers to issue various kinds of rights to protect the rights of the citizen. So to protect the rights of the citizen, the court is having a right to issue various kinds of rights. Here the word rights means providing a legal command or written command, so they can protect the rights of the citizen, and that is mean as a right as a constitutional remedies. As per Article 32 Section 2 and Article 226 Section 1 of the Constitution, the Supreme Court and the High Court can issue 5 types of rights. That is, first one is habeas corpus, second one is mandamus, third one is prohibition, fourth one is quo warranto, and the fifth one is certiorari. So the first one we are going to see, that is habeas corpus, which means protections from unlawful arrest and detention. Habeas corpus means you may have the body. A person when arrested can move the court for the issue of habeas corpus. It is an order by the court to the detaining authority to provide the arrest person before it, so that it may examine whether the person has been detained lawfully or otherwise. If the court is convinced that the person is illegally detained, it can issue orders for his release. That is called as a habeas corpus. Now the second one is mandamus. The order of the court and the Supreme Court or the High Court commanding the government to perform an action that is its duty to perform in public interest. Now this mandamus is a Latin word which means as we command. Mandamus is an order for a superior court to a lower court. As we all know, we are having a 3 courts, that is taluka level court, then we have a high court, and then we have a supreme court, right? So it's giving order to the lower court or the public authority to perform an act which falls within its duty. Now the third one is prohibition, to prevent a subordinate court from exceeding its jurisdictions. The word prohibition means to forbid or to stop, and it is popularly known as stay order. This right is issued when a lower court or a body tries to transgress the limit or power vested in it. It is a right issued by a superior court to the lower court to perform an act outside its jurisdictions. After the issue of this right, proceedings in the lower court, etc., come to a stop. So to prevent the subordinate courts from exceeding its jurisdictions, the superior court is giving the order to stop, or prohibit means stay order. Then the fourth one is quo warranto, to restrain a person from acting in an office to which he is not entitled. So the word quo warranto literally means on what authority one is holding the public office. It is a right issue with a view to restrain a person from acting in a public office to which he is not entitled. For example, a person of 62 years has been appointed to fill a public office, whereas the retirement age is 60 years. Now the appropriate High Court has a right to issue a right of quo warranto against the person and declares the office vacant. Now the last one is certiorari, to order the removal of law suits from a subordinate court to a superior court, which means as to be a certified. The right of certiorari is issued by the Supreme Court to some inferior courts, or to transfer the matter to it or to some other superior authority for the proper consideration. Because the fundamental rights are thus protected by the courts, citizens are able to exercise their rights, because those rights we have got through the constitutions or the courts, and those fundamental rights are protected by the courts and the constitutions, and that is why we are exercising all our rights. They can fulfill their roles as alert, responsible and active citizens as a part of the country. While considering the fundamental rights, it is very important to look after our duties also, as we all are enjoying the fundamental rights which is given by our constitutions, okay, and we are also fighting against it if injustice is happening in the society. So it is very important to look after our duties also. So in the next chapter we shall study what are our fundamental duties. So here is the end of our chapter Fundamental Rights Part 2, as there are 6 fundamental rights which we have studied in chapter number 4 and chapter number 5. I hope everyone understood this lesson. Now I want everyone to read this lesson. Thank you.